Yes, yes, guys. Ryjack back with another live stream. It's a bit of an emergency city discussion. See what's going on in the fan base and online. Sip a couple of people in the chat. Ryan Ruende says, "Yo, what's up? How are you?" Gold Drip says, "Yo, yo, how are you doing?" It's a mental issue. Nothing the manager or opponent can be good for 90 minutes. I don't know why. Says 8TF. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you. Honestly, I went live and there's low key some breaking news as soon as we went live, and I will pull it up right here on the channel. If you can see, it is a quote from David Ornstein, who I know some people don't like him because allegedly he's an Arsenal fan and whatnot. But I mean, it's a pretty interesting quote. I've always thought David Ornstein was a very reliable journalist. He's like the Athletics number one transfer guy. Like, he is basically Fabrizio Romano. I don't think he just says nonsense. An emergency stream almost 24 hours after the game. Well, it's also when I could go streaming, and it's not all about the the shambolic Spurs game. We can talk about other things as well. Anyway, this, let me zoom in just a bit so you guys can see it. Let's go back one right there. This is a quote David Ornstein, not me. I think there's an extremely strong chance of Pep leaving Man City at the end of the season. He signed a 2-year deal, but even inside City high up, there was an expectation that was going to be a 1-year deal right up until the moment pretty much it was announced. There's a feeling in the industry the 2 years was to buy time. Of course, he could see out the period, but it was also possibly a clever and sensible decision designed to maybe try and keep some pressure and scrutiny off him this season. That hasn't really worked because City have been talking to potential candidates if he does leave. Now, this doesn't come out of nowhere, guys. This does not come out of nowhere whatsoever. We have heard murmurs for, I don't know what, 2 months now that something is going on, right? Something's going on with Pep. I don't know if this 2-year deal, basically he's making it sound like it's a fake 2-year deal, to be honest with you. It's a fake 2-year deal that's really a 1 year, and then he can step away, assuming we win something, which is what I've said for time on this channel. I've always said, I think if Pep in this season, year 10, does a decade at City, and he can go off with a win, whether that's a Prem, Champions League, FA Cup, he can kind of, I did my job, I won a trophy, it built us back to the mountaintop, and now I'm done. I'm leaving you a trophy. I mean, Nipin's entire job is to make fun of you. Okay. I'm as the streamer, I'm okay with being made fun of as long as you guys are having a good time. As long as you guys are having a good time, that's what matters to me. This is just a guy giving his opinion, no sources or nothing. It's his thought, says All Things Football. Now, here's the thing, though. This is not just some guy. This is David Ornstein. David Ornstein is a very, very respected journalist. And I don't think this is his thought. He said, even inside City high up, there was an expectation that it was going to be a 1-year deal. That's an expectation from the City high ups. That's not his thought. Yeah, Gold Drips has it right. Basically, it was a 1+1 deal. They have given 1+1 to his assistants. That could be it, and it could be a term of, oh, we get to the end of the season and it turns out Pep has an opt-out contract or opt-out clause in the contract, and he's decided it's best to step away. I'm not saying that's what's happening or gonna happen, but I could totally see that being a thing. The guy looks absolutely gassed, man. And there's an argument to say he is. It's weird how you phrase this, but some people will say Pep is running out of ideas. He's running out of ideas. He can't figure out what's wrong with the club at the moment. And then the other option is there is no actual solution. We're just not good enough to compete and to win this Premier League. We're just not good enough. And it doesn't matter who the manager would be. This group of players was built poorly. And no matter if you have the best manager of all time at his peak, it wouldn't have worked because these are square pegs in round holes. That's possible. That's a possibility. I'm not willing to say which way I'm leaning really, because I don't know. I don't know which way it is more. Which way is it more? Is it more Pep? Is it more the players? I think it's been said a lot on the city content channels today. I watched quite a bit. It's not one specific thing. It's not just Pep is the problem. It's not one player specifically is the problem. You take that one player out, like Savio, for example, and now we're solved. Like, Savio hasn't played for 2 months, and we're still not great. Rico Lewis hasn't played for time, and we're still having second half collapses. So I don't think it's as simple to say there's one issue and we need to plug that one issue and then we're good. We'll win the league. I don't think that's the case. I think this time I really feel the end is here soon. That's what I'm saying. I kind of have, I'm moving towards this camp of it feels like the end. Whether or not it actually is, of course, I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying Pep is done at the end of the season, but I'm moving a lot closer to it feels like he might get to this conclusion that David Ornstein is talking about. That's what it doesn't matter who the manager is. Our players need therapy. If they concede a goal, they think we're going to execute them. True. The fan base is a bit OTT at times, guys. They are a bit over the top about specific players, and I think people want to find scapegoats, and that's what they don't understand. They don't really get that it's not just one specific thing that's the problem. It's a host of problems, unfortunately, which sucks because you would like to think with the money City have spent, that would not be an issue, You would think that Tijani Reinders is a solution and not a seemingly problem player. More on City Extra says goal drips. Well, we got another tweet. The one thing we're hearing louder than ever before is people well placed to think Guardiola is leaving. We're not saying that's cast iron. We're not saying it's guaranteed. He's got previous for making his decision late, changing his mind when he's been on the persuasion to go. So you can't say it with absolute certainty, but the way the season is going, things don't feel completely right. Nobody's denying that Pep could be on his way in the summer. I see. This feels so realistic, and it's so like I know people hate David Ornstein for whatever reason because he's maybe an Arsenal fan at some point in his life, but like also these guys are professional journalists, guys. They're professional journalists. David Ornstein is one of the most respected journalists in European football. He has 4 million followers. Like, he's basically the Adam Schefter of Europe for those Americans watching. Adam Schefter, might have a favorite team, but he's not going to favorite him in the journalism. It's unprofessional. And I know people say that all the time, but I just don't buy that personally. Luke in the chat says, I feel like we're moving close to the end of an era. I don't think that massively affects us with transfers, but I think it might be the end, sadly. 10 years of unbelievable success. This is a great point as well. If Pep decides to leave, like, the guy's getting a statue, the guy's getting, a stand named after him. They might as well name the stadium the Pep Guardiola Stadium. Like, for all I care. The guy has done more for this club than any player or person other than maybe like Sheikh, I guess, if you want to say Sheikh, but an employee of the club, a non-owner of the club. He has done more for anyone in our history. So, like, if he decides he's done, I hold my hands up and I will not begrudgingly say, like, how dare this guy break his contract? He said he was saying for 2 more. Like, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. We were not going to have Pep for 20 years. That was never going to happen. We should be thankful we've had him for 10, to be honest, because nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming, the 10-year situation. And Luke is right. It's unbelievable, unrivaled 10 years. You can put it up against any 10-year run of any club in basically any sport. And it's as good as it gets in 10 years, pretty much, for professional sport. Like, we're the New England Patriots. We are the Los Angeles Lakers. We're the Boston Celtics of the 60s. That's how it is. That's how good this run has been. So, again, not saying it's over, but feels like heading toward the end is definitely a fair take. Still fuming about the Gahey own goal. I am also upset about the Gahey own goal, but I've accepted that we should have won the game regardless of the own goal happening. Even if Spurs get that goal, we should have had other opportunities. We should have played better in the second half. We should have not decided to be passive. We should have been more aggressive. We should have won the game regardless. So, yes, the own goal is upsetting, but I don't want the loser mentality of being like, the refs screwed us over. I hate that. I can't do that. The refs suck. We all agree the refs are awful. They're awful for everyone. So we got to play better and score more goals. That's what I think. My personal take was he was not meant to be here this season. If the previous season had gone that bad, he would have left when the previous deal ended. I basically think this is fact as well. It seems like last year was so bad that he just didn't want to leave it after that season in a mess. He wanted to go for 5 in a row, and it was just, we were so far off that, maybe if we had done better in the Prem or gone farther in the Champions League and he won something, he would have left last year. I kind of agree with that. And in hindsight, which hindsight is, 2020, he should have left after the 4-peat. Imagine that's how he goes out. I know all of us would be personally crushed, but how much better would it be for Pep to have walked after the 4-peat and the year after the treble, and it's like, holy moly, this guy basically won every single year for his whole time in England, and then he's out. And it's like impeccable, unblemished resume. And now he's got this mess of 2 seasons where, the fan base is at odds with each other. Online is like toxic. People are attacking players on Instagram like it's a joke. It's a joke from some people. It's crazy. So, and maybe that would have happened anyway if Pep left. I don't know, but that's just kind of my thought. The quotes from the original video, also another good reporter, Craig Hope, said he would not mention the name of the manager, but they are closely having discussions. Interesting. That was another City Extra post or no? Let me refresh your Twitter here. Maybe not. The original post. I don't know if I have access to that, to be honest, because I'm in the U.S. Sometimes I can't see certain videos just because of my location, which is annoying, but it is what it is. So I will say earlier, I made a video about the rumored 3-man shortlist, which again I think is totally reasonable to have this shortlist here. And it's from Matt Law right here. And this more goes into the, what do we do if Pep decides to leave? And I'm sure Pulpy's unhappy with this. It seems like he's not really happy with anything, unfortunately. I don't know Pulpy, but he seems like a good guy. But man, some of these are so negative. Man. Anyway, Xabi Alonso is expected to feature on a 3-man shortlist of potential successors to Pep Guardiola amid a growing sense among City's rivals within Premier League circles. Again, this was earlier today. Pep will leave at the end of the ongoing season. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But again, multiple different journalists are saying that. I think it is fair to discuss. He says Xabi Alonso is on this shortlist, which for me, I wonder if I can pull up Xabi Alonso's career record, because it's pretty good in general. I know he got sacked at Madrid, but like let's relax a bit about the Madrid thing. I feel like that was kind of a different issue than him being, not up for the job. Our GOAT, Calvin Phillips, is gone. Devastated. I know. Shout out Calvin Phillips heading over to... Anyway, here is Xabi Alonso. If you go to managerial statistics here, I mean, it's pretty good, guys. It's pretty good. He won 63% of his games. Goal difference plus 158. Coached 140 games for Leverkusen, won 88 of them. 34 for Madrid, 124, 6 losses, which is, basically unacceptable at Madrid, and that's how it goes. But like, this is a very talented manager, clearly. Was one game away from winning a treble, not the treble, but a treble. With Leverkusen, it would have been the Europa League, not the Champions League, but did go undefeated, invincible season in the Bundesliga, which I know Bundesliga tax, it's kind of a maybe a crap league, whatever, but I just think it's fair to say that Xabi Alonso has managed Bayer Leverkusen to a very high level, much higher than they've been in years. Did a decent job at Madrid, and the problem was more so the ego situation versus him not doing well as a manager. All the reports are about him wanting this like intense control of the players, and they got to be at the ground on time. There's a curfew and all this stuff, which sounds very similar to Pep. Just to be clear, sounds very similar to Pep, and that's not really the Madrid way, but that is the Man City way. Is this like regimented schedule of hands-on management from the managers, which is why I think personally it would work with Xabi Alonso. I'm not saying Pep is out, but Xabi Alonso would be high on my list, I think. I think he can announce it officially if we're out of the title race. Potentially, he could. I wouldn't mind him announcing beforehand, just so people can like relax a bit and kind of accept the idea. Because at the end of it, I could see a hot mess happening if things go a certain way. Who are the other two? I didn't see the video. So the other two mentioned were one, Enzo Maresca, which was kind of semi-dismissed by the article because it basically said they didn't think he was as strong of a candidate, but he would be considered due to his relationship with Pep, basically, is what I read. I don't think that will probably happen because I don't think he quite has the gravitas in a way. He doesn't command the respect being Enzo Maresca. Even if some of the players maybe know him well because of his City ties, but I don't know. I don't know. Xabi is probably going to take over from Slot at Liverpool. It's also possible, but he obviously has a good relationship with Pep. Maybe there's a world where Pep talks to him and he decides to go to City instead of Liverpool because he already rejected Liverpool at one point. So you never know. The next manager will disappoint most of our fan base because it won't be the fans' top three. I would say most people probably want Luis Enrique or Vincent Kompany. The article did mention Vincent Kompany and said they don't think he leaves Bayern. I don't know if I believe that, but it said that basically in the article that he loves Bayern and doesn't want to leave at present, which fair enough. You basically have very good job security if you keep winning the Bundesliga and then do well in the Champions League. You're at a massive, massive club. Check City Extra. I'll be back again. More. See what we got. A refresh. I hope we don't announce it. We are still in 4 comps. I think if at some point we fall out of the competitions, it would be fine to announce it. If that's a thing. It still might not be a thing. Because if he's just going to not leave, then of course he's not going to announce anything. If Pep is going, then Viana messed up ridiculously bad. Well, I do think it's a fair discussion to ask some questions about Viana at this point because, I don't know. It feels like Reinders was a square peg round hole type signing where we kind of thought he was one way, and maybe this is what Viana envisioned, which, hey, I don't know. I didn't see that as necessarily a need, like an attacking midfielder that doesn't help much defensively. It feels like that's not the role we wanted Reinders to do, but I don't know. Probably Maresca. And the other person in the article was Cesc Fabregas, which again, a bit unproven, but seemingly doing very well at Como. Maybe he's able to bring Nico Paz. I know Spartacus loves Nico Paz, but I'm pretty sure Nico Paz is going to Real Madrid, so I don't think that will happen. We bought Semenyo, GG. Oh, Gigi Donnarumma, Reinders, Cherki, and Aït-Nouri for Pep. If he foresaw Pep leaving, don't buy him. Half a bill worth of players. Here's my only semi-question about that is if the Pep way is how we're going to play as a club, sort of in the vein of Ajax play the Cruyff way. That's just, everybody knows that's how Ajax are going to play for time. maybe, regardless of who the next manager is, the objective will be to play similarly to Pep, and it won't matter as much who the manager is, and we'll just continually be this like Pep coded style. That's my kind of semi thought with like how we have the academy all the way from the top down playing similar ways to how the manager wants to play. And I imagine you'd bring in a manager to do that. Like, I don't think you bring in a Thomas Tuchel to play super defensive football. Like, I just don't think that's in our DNA at present. I don't think you bring in Antonio Conte to see like a back three situation. Maybe I'm wrong, but that would be my guess on that. Reinders let us down when we need him the most, as seen in the final moments versus Spurs. And more, I mean, Reinders has been relatively disappointing this season. He had a very nice purple patch. So, I don't know. Viana bought great players. That's what he did at Sporting. But in the Prem, that doesn't work. The side who wins is the side who buys the best profiles. And I do think this is semi-facts from Spartacus here. I don't get the Tijani fit. I don't get it. I also, it's not just Hugo Viana though. It's probably like the last 3 years of transfer windows. It's difficult. It's difficult, you know? Some of the players that were bought, I just didn't quite get. Gigi is not the profile of Pep, so Viana left a bomb for the next guy. To be fair, he's not really the profile for Pep, but Pep said and maybe Pep, what is he supposed to say? But Pep said he has the requisite ability to play. So I don't know. But I know what you mean. But Gigi Donnarumma is an absolute world-class goalie. He just doesn't play great with his feet, and that's fair. Like, I think we can figure out how to play with Gigi, and if Gigi has to go, he has to go. He might want to go to Italy. There was those quotes anyway. I would not put that much on Viana because he's not buying players for only Pep. He's buying good players for the club. Maybe club wants a little change in strategy. Ed drops a breaking news. I'm assuming he's talking about these Pep tweets here. Viana's doing a good job. I mean, Reinders is the only real one that's not going great. I don't know if that's necessarily true because Marmouche hasn't been going great. I don't know who Echeverri was. I guess Echeverri was probably cheeky. I don't know if Vitor Hayes was Hugo Viana. And who knows on that one. You didn't read the new quote? My bad. I got distracted. Craig Hope, reliable source, did say another manager who I won't name. I know City have a soft background checks on him, if you like, so they're getting the ducks in a row for the eventuality, which is fair. I do think that's fair. You have to get the eventuality of Pep leaving because it's going to happen. So maybe this happening now means that it's happening this summer. But again, even if it was happening in a year and a half, you would still probably start figuring out what you want to do, you know? Reinders is a brilliant player, but his profile doesn't match what you need to platform with Donnarumma. Let me pull up my thing I worked on earlier. Fab did say Pep really wanted Gigi and pushed for him. I remember reading that as well. So I don't, who knows what's actually true and what's not, but it does seem like he wanted him pretty badly. Others don't get games. He's not world class. What are we doing? The guy can't deal with crosses, can't sweep, can't pass, and is inconsistent. A great shot stopper. Spartacus, I know you don't really like Donnarumma, but in general, I feel like when people make these top 5 goalie lists, he's always there. He's always there. Maybe he's living off of his PSG treble run performances, but I've always thought highly of Donnarumma. He's not great on crosses. You're right on that, but I do feel like he's a pretty good shot stopper, like top tier shot stopper, I should say. Echeverri and Hayes and Kush were all Viana, so that's another one. Echeverri seems like probably a miss. Vitor Hayes is essentially blocked from minutes at the moment. Maybe he'll turn out great. Maybe he'll be awesome. Maybe he'll be 5th choice, and then be so good that he moves up, but like the center back path is so blocked at the moment. Vitor Hayes was the work of Viana, and the other one, YouTube won't let me type his name. Cheeky, I guess. They both worked January and summer. Hayes is coming back. Yes, Hayes is coming back, I assume, and Max Elaine will miss out, but I just, the Hayes path, I just don't see, unless Husinov is out or we're losing Diaz sooner. Let's see if I can pull this up. I worked on this. I want to see if this, how it looks there. Okay, so I made this earlier, and it's just an area of positional depth chart where we can look and see how we've done and where we need to improve. Goalie, like, maybe you improve on Donnarumma, maybe you don't. I don't know. You probably don't unless a new manager comes in who absolutely doesn't want him. Goalie is kind of irrelevant for me. I don't think there's need to talk about it. Trafford will leave, whatever, kind of irrelevant. Left back. Is Nico O'Reilly a left back? I don't know. I feel like he's better at left back than he is in midfield. Nori, I saw got some stick today from Ptolemy on Twitter, said he's basically trash, which I don't really agree with. I feel like he did a pretty good job and just hasn't played much with the injury and AFCON. I feel like Nori is a decent signing. How long did that take? Not that long. I'm pretty good with Keynote. This is all I just make tables, and I like doing this kind of stuff. Like, this was what we had from last stream, the good and bad going on, good, bad, and the questions. But this is just like a positional depth area here. Is Donnarumma good at crosses? No, I would agree, no. Is he good at corners? No, I agree. Is he good at passing? He's not as bad as I think people made him out to be. He's not great, but is he a good sweeper keeper? No. How can a guy be great in one of 5 of the main traits of a goalkeeping be world class? Well, I think he's an awesome shot stopper, and I feel like Ederson was good at all these other things, but not shot stopping, and clearly the decision was to go with the most valuable trait of shot stopping. I think they just weigh differently. If we're going with this 1 out of 5 thing, the one, I'm guessing they're rating that as more valuable than the rest, even if in the past that may not have been the case. Which certainly has changed how we play. I'm not going to say it hasn't, but you can't improve on Don. You would change profiles if you changed Donnarumma. Like if somehow Luis Enrique got here, you would, potentially not have Donnarumma anymore, which is maybe a net negative or positive depending on your take on Donnarumma. Viana has fully got charged after the summer, as Cheeky was still here till the summer, and Viana was at Sporting and was appointing their new manager, so he can buy the January signings. I don't know. Vitor Hayes is 21. What 20-year-old is starting for top-tier clubs at worldly levels except for Kubarsi? To be fair, this is a good point. Center backs probably mature a little bit later. Like an attacker probably has a better chance of getting into the team at a younger age than a center back does. Maybe a center back probably takes some time to get towards their peak. So, maybe that's fair, but it's also a good question, I think, to say, is Vitor Hayes at 21 years old, who was bought for 30, 35, whatever it is, million, is he fine with being on loan at Girona, a not great club, then coming back to City and being 5th choice? Is that okay for him? If he's not happy with that, there's not much he can do exactly. Like, it depends on what we told him, so there's a lot of factors at play on Vitor Hayes. I would love to see Vitor Hayes play. I love incorporating the young up-and-coming players, and hopefully they become world-class and amazing, and then we don't have to spend $100 million on somebody to come in. But I just don't know where the minutes are going to be. And maybe he's fine with not playing for a year, but then the year after, he's the same situation. So I don't know. Don is overall good in corners, only a few bozos here and there. Eddie wasn't ever world-class because he was only great in one trait. Yeah, but Eddie was instrumental in what we did in terms of winning as much as we did, and Donnarumma was instrumental for PSG as well. So I think it just depends on the style you like. Yeah, Spartacus, goalie at PSG, not playing. He's injured. Well, I don't know. I don't watch PSG, so what do I know? Thoughts on Rodri's form? Alarming, I would say. Alarming, to say the least. Not great. Maybe he's injured. Maybe he's not fully fit. But I don't know. It's not good. It's not the same old Rodri, which for sure. Chevalier is on the bench. Maybe he's injured. I don't know. He's going to be fine. He's taking some time to develop and being the biggest club in France, which demolish a side because everyone is injured. That idiot who would bring over Chevalier. Don't know what he sees. I think he's bad. Guys, we don't need to call each other idiots. Let's relax. Another injury-prone keeper. True, Ederson was very injury-prone for a keeper, which is so strange. Like, at least Donnarumma's not been injured. Going off that, why throw out an experienced keeper for a project? True. As per Enrique himself, was played around at PSG. Guys, this Donnarumma discussion is so, like, minimal in terms of what's problem with City at the moment. We suck, guys. Donnarumma is actually one of the players that's playing decently well for us. We got a lot of other problems than Donnarumma. For real, guys, for real. I think when I look at this chart that I made, so beautifully, by the way, you have a severe problem with, unfortunately, Tijani Reinders, who I really, really like. I really like Tijani Reinders as a player. I think he's really good. However, Spartacus and a couple other people have said it in the chat, square peg, round hole. We needed this signing to be in this column here. Someone who can supplement when Bernardo is out. Kovacic hasn't played the entire season. You have attacking mids, and Cherki might even be considered more of a right winger than an attacking mid, to be honest. But, like, we just lack so much in these two spots. Rodri has been a shell of himself, unfortunately. Nico G has been pretty good, but he's been injured as well for, I don't know, the last month, unfortunately. And we just, in this last month, we've been poo, guys. I don't know how else to say it. We've been poo. We've been poo. I try to keep it PG on the channel and not curse, so he's been poo. Name another goalie who was at the market we could buy. I don't know. Oh, you're calling Enrique an idiot. I got you. Rico is a problem. I would agree that Rico is a problem, but again, we take Rico out. He didn't play in the Spurs game, you know? He couldn't play in the Spurs game, and we still collapsed. So he's not the only problem, but this is true. He is a problem and not good enough to play, unfortunately. Reinders is a possession-based player. That won't happen with Donnarumma. Again, I just think the profile of Reinders, like you said earlier, doesn't fit. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, guys. It's got to be a player in this mold here. And I hate to be that guy, but Bruno G was there, man. He was there for 100 mil, which sounds like crazy money, but let's say we swap out Tijani for Bruno G. Are we better? Are we better? We just are better. We are better. And it doesn't have to be Bruno G, because maybe Newcastle wouldn't have sold him. I don't remember if there was a release clause or not. And maybe 100 mil is too much. It's just, it doesn't make much sense to me, this Tijani situation. And especially if we're going to play with Donnarumma, it doesn't really fit. Exactly. You put Bernie instead of Silva. I was trying to fit Bernardo in, but it wouldn't stay in one line, so I just put Bernie, okay? Yes. Maybe TG would be good in a 4-3-3 under a different manager. That's also possible. A new manager could potentially change the style, could change the formation, could change the team talks. At this point, I think it's fair. I'm not Pep out. I will never sit up here on this stream and say, I want Baldy out of my club. Like some of you guys, maybe not this chat specifically, but some other chats say. I'm not that guy. I don't feel that way. However, if you're not at least questioning a little bit, I think you're a bit dishonest with yourself. It's fair to ask, after 10 years, is the voice resonating the same? Do the players react the same as when a new voice comes in? Maybe the new voice is bad. Maybe it's bad. But I'm just saying sometimes a change it happens and it can be good. Like Jurgen Klopp left Liverpool, they won the title the next year. I'm sure nobody would have expected that. Nobody would have expected that. And then, you continue going and they suck this year. So there's give and take with that. I know, hands on my head, I know Liverpool didn't solve everything by sacking Jurgen Klopp or by Jurgen Klopp leaving. They didn't solve anything. I heard someone say, "Pooh, welcome house captain." We're rating our players. I'm using this as sort of a visual to see what areas of the squad are difficult. I've been here for a year and can confirm you've cursed many times. That's not true. That's not true. Nope. False. That's not true. Goal starting work on Jean Garcia, by Chevalier, by Cobel, by Mike at AC Milan, Costa at Porto. Give Trafford a chance. To be fair, we've seen Trafford. I don't think he's been any good passing the ball either, really. There were many other keepers. Look at the links. We were planning to have a ball-playing keeper, but Viana pooed the bed and got Gigi when he became available. Maybe that's true. I feel like we don't know that for sure, though. I feel like we don't know that. If Pep wanted a ball-playing goalie, he would have not bought Gigi. Maybe. It's like going from Reed to Trent, two completely different players who need completely different profiles around them. I would agree with that. That really doesn't make much sense because Trent feels like a potential upgrade on Nunes, and then you have two options with Nunes, but Reed feels like a very different player to both of them, and I don't know what you do there. Maybe it's a situation where you have Nunes as a starter, you play a certain way with Nunes, and then Reed pushing him, and eventually he makes it in the team, and then you got to play a different way, which I don't really like. I don't know. The other options was Garcia and Costa. Garcia would have snubbed us, and Costa ain't Donnarumma. Very split opinion on Donnarumma amongst the fans, guys, amongst the fans. The ones who are saying they want Baldy out of our club want Maresca. I don't think they want Maresca. They probably want Luis Enrique, I would say. But based on Twitter today, I don't know. Why are we still talking about a goalie? There are a lot of worse players for us to discuss. Reed is more similar to Nunes. Honestly, I've never seen Javaro Reed play, so I have no idea. I'm just saying Trent feels like a similar Nunes in the terms of he's much better going forward than defending. He's a little bit different in terms of not being, he's not pacey like Nunes. And Nunes is probably a bit better defensively, but the main net positive, I would say, Nunes gives is attacking width, and I feel like Trent would also do that. GG is the least of our issues. I do feel this way. I don't think Donnarumma is a main issue at the moment. I feel like I cannot get over this area of the pitch here. Especially when we know Rodri's been poor. Nico G's been out of the team. Bernardo, some of these fans love Bernardo. He's instrumental and must play every game, and some of them never want to see him play again. So who knows? Kovacic hasn't played all year. Foden has had an awful month. Cherki is very good offensively, but doesn't really contribute anything defensively. And Tijani, is just... I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know with Tijani. I feel like he could be good. I do. But he really needs to be closer to goal and be putting away chances. If he, let's say he had 10 or 12 goals at this point, maybe we'd be able to forgive his shortcomings defensively, but he's not putting away chances right now. He's not really creating anything. He's not offering much defensively, so he's a head scratcher for sure. Doku, always injured, unfortunately. No goal threat. Yes, he's amazing dribbler one-on-one. He's fantastic. We love Doku's one-on-one dribbling, but a lot of times doesn't result in a whole lot, unfortunately. Semenyo, very direct goal scorer, but when he's not scoring, what is he doing? If you think about the The last game, I mean, he wasn't very good, guys. Semenyo, who I love Semenyo. He was atrocious. He scored, but other than that, he was awful. It was awful. Savinho, young player, has potential, but we don't need to do Savinho talk, guys. We all know Savinho ain't good enough right now. Maybe he will be, but he ain't good enough right now. I think that's fair to say. People who know football appreciate Bernardo. I appreciate Bernardo, but I'm also of the opinion that you can find another player to do the Bernardo job who is younger and more athletic. He might not be the biggest, dark arts type player where he can get under people's skin because he's little, but surely there's a center midfielder out there that we can buy that is young, athletic, and also can contribute some G&A. Like, I know Bernardo is legendary and is a football legend for Man City. He's one of the best players we've ever had. I'm not saying he's not. But he is also 31, 32, not very athletic, and really doesn't give us any goals. The dirty work, he's very good at. But where's the guy that can do the dirty work and give me some goals or some assists, some creativity? That's what I would like personally. I think squad planning is by different types of profiles, so the manager can change the system if they want, potentially. But again, we've got a few different profile types in this system here, and I just, the different keys to different locks feels like it ain't working. It feels like we got a bunch of keys and a bunch of locks that don't unlock. What it feels like. In the midfield, we're looking for goals. Anderson won't give us that, so we need others to step up since Anderson is like a deep line midfielder. Again, Anderson does feel like the signing we're going to get, but you are correct. He's not a huge goal threat either, unfortunately. So we still have that problem. And you can't run Bernardo into the ground like we've done and expect his quality to stay the same. It's just not going to happen. Penguin is into the chat. So, to summarize, we need a world-class winger, a.k.a. Elise, which I would love, but unfortunately, I don't think that's happening. We need a good all-rounder midfielder, a.k.a. Elliot Anderson. We do, but again, Elliot Anderson doesn't really solve much in terms of goals and creativity. If you had Rodri back to his best, maybe Nico G can get further forward. I don't know if he's got much creativity in his game or goals in his game. He scored that one really nice goal. I don't remember who it was. It was in the Champions League. Whoever that goal was against, where it was like, wow, okay, Nico G has a strike on him, and we just kind of never see him do that anymore. But roughly in summary, this is correct. You have a problem, I think, with this area. Not in terms of Haaland being the problem, because Haaland is obviously one of the best players in the world. And I think given proper rest and proper management, maybe is a better way to say it, he would be doing much better. But I do feel like we have overplayed him and not done a good job managing minutes. Pep, I do feel, is a bit of the blame there, and that is not to say that Haaland has no blame, because the guy needs to give me more effort, man. The guy's moseying around like it is what it is. So we're saying we need an Elise and Pedri type player. How feasible? Unfortunately, that does seem like where we have come to in this part of the discussion. We need basically the best midfielder in the world and the best winger, one of the best wingers in the world, which sounds bad, but I've also heard it said that Pep works best with the best players, which typically he's had, if you count it. Like, when he was at Barca, obviously he had Messi. When he was at Bayern, he had an amazing squad that no one else in the league comes near. And then at City, he's had KDB and Haaland and Aguero, and it's been like. So I think there's something in that. I think there's something in that for sure. That it sounds so bad to say, though, that like, is Pep just a manager who this system he plays only works with the absolute best of the best? And where's the forethought in figuring it out how to work with certain other players. I don't know. I don't know. Fair question. I'm not sure. I think protecting and packing the midfield will free up the attackers, and their output will be good. So we packed the midfield, I feel like, recently, and it sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with this one. In general, I like the idea of packing the midfield, but I think we suffer sometimes with our width when Nico O'Reilly has been like a shell of himself, unfortunately. I don't know. I think Anderson is a must, especially with his homegrown status. I mean, I relatively agree. I feel like, unfortunately, we missed out on Jude. I know some people don't like Jude, but I rate Jude. I think he would have been awesome. So I would have been very happy with Jude. Declan Rice obviously would have been a fantastic fit here. If you get Anderson, I think you just miss the goals that those players can bring. And, you know, Declan Rice is maybe not like a massive goal-scoring guy, but he's definitely got better goal-scoring numbers than Anderson has. Maybe he will develop into that a bit. That's also possible. Yes, Kieran, sure. Great, so funny. I can't believe how funny the comment is, Kieran. I'm floored. If the plan is to have very different profiles that don't fit with each other, then the sporting director needs to see the door. That approach never worked. Is there pressure on Hugo Viana at some point, guys? Is there pressure on Hugo Viana with these signings, not really working out? Is there pressure on him? I think it's fair. I don't know that when you have Cheeky Bergerstein, who's basically one of the best sporting directors of the last 10 years, 20 years, I've never really had this discussion of needing to change the sporting director. I think it's a fair question. I don't know that I'm there yet, but I think it's fair. Here's the hard part. How do we get an Elise or Pedri? I mean, you don't. You have to, unfortunately, get lucky in predicting who will be the next cream of the crop, unfortunately. Like, Elise just seems so unrealistic, and obviously Pedri's never happening. Never happening. The late winner for Benfica was not enough for me to forgive them for refusing Neves. For us, he's exactly the type of player we need. Neves would have been rather good. Just teach Anderson to put one in from range. He's only had 1 year. I would love to be a fly on the wall when the board considers new signings. Yeah, that's fair. I would, like, if we got another one of the all or nothing docs, would be great to see, like a season that goes awry, see how Pep manages things and how it goes. I think that would be awesome. I think it would be awesome to see. They always do those like city docs at the end of the year, but I feel like they leave stuff out that the Amazon Prime doc all or nothing would put in themselves, I'm with that. Okay, sure, that's your opinion. You've met me for like 5 minutes, so sure. I don't mind players not working out. What I do mind is the fact that we can't see a semblance of a plan. Yeah, let me see if I can pull up Transfermarkt here. Look at the signings. I don't like using Transfermarkt typically because it's so ad heavy and very annoying, but hey, it's the best way I can look at transfers probably. So let's see. All transfers. Good call, Spartacus. Good call. So if you look at the transfers here, this is just from... There we go. Semenyo, I feel like I like the signing. I like it. I think it's way too early, obviously, to have some of the takes that some of the City fans have had on Twitter. Semenyo, I think, will be class. Reinders feels like it doesn't make much sense. Nori potentially will work, But again, if Nico O'Reilly's a long-term left back, if Josko Gavardio is going to move to left back and have Gehi Diaz pairing, maybe Ait-Nouri doesn't make much sense. Cherky's obviously a very good signing. James Trafford is a fine signing because to me it doesn't really matter. He'll just be a net positive on a sale because he's an academy kid, so irrelevant. Donnarumma, mixed, I would say. In general, I like the Donnarumma signing, but I know some people don't. Gehi, obviously very good. Naipan, who has any idea? Bettinelli, irrelevant. And then those are the outs. If we go down, so, in this, you have 1, 2, we'll say 3, 4. 4 bang on, very good, I would say. And 1, 2, 3 sus signing type deals. I think signings are good. Cherokee good. Gigi good. Ait-Nouri too early. Gehi good. Semenyo is good. How can you say that sporting director has not done a good job? I think it's probably more this window here. This time. You could rely on X accounts with no profile picture and like 1K followers instead. Viana didn't know Ait-Nouri would be this good. He only played half a season last year. What do you mean? I feel like Ait-Nouri was one of the best up-and-coming left backs, and I was pretty gassed with the signing personally. But he really hasn't had the game time this year, and he didn't know O'Reilly would be this good. Maybe that's what you meant. Marmouche, seemingly not ideal, probably. Nico G, decently good. Kusanov, I feel like pretty good. Vitor Hayes, I meant Nico. Yeah, that's fair. I got you. Only hope time will tell this summer. True, Savinho, it is what it is. I feel like at 25 mil, it's fine. But maybe we should consider at times as well. He only came in at 25 mil. Like, Vitor Hayes, the guy who never has played basically at all for us, came in at 37 mil. Husanov, 40 mil. Nico G, 60 mil. And Vitor, like, Savinho, clearly there's a lack of... He's not ready yet. If he was ready, he'd probably be a 50, 60 million pound type player. So, I think people forget about this sometimes when we're bashing on Savinho, January was all cheeky. See the pictures when they were signed. It was with cheeky. I don't know if that means they were all cheeky, but I don't know. In his defense, Omar was a big reason we got UCL last season. Omar was good last year, but Omar feels like a net negative at this point. He's on big money. Might be hard to move. He doesn't really play. So that's what's confusing. O'Reilly was our young player of the season. He wasn't a surprise. Maybe they didn't feel like he was a long-term left-back option. That's possible. I don't know. But if you felt like O'Reilly was going to be your long-term left-back, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to spend big money on Ait-Nouri, does it? Or am I getting that wrong? Omar was a cheeky signing. If you look at Omar, does this show how many games he started this year? Surely it can't be very many, guys. It cannot be very many starts. He's made 19 appearances. He played 550 minutes. He's just not played, guys. He's just not played at all. Current season stats. He didn't get enough playing time this year, though, Omar. But why is he not getting playing time? I think is a fair question. Why is he not playing? Is it a Pep thing? Is it an Omar Marmouche thing? What's the deal? Individually, the players that Viana got were good. But if you look at the other players that we were linked with, they were all completely different profiles, and even the ones we got. Viana appears to me to be an opportunities director of football. Ait-Nouri wasn't exactly big money. A lot like Nunez, squad filler is why he was signed. Maybe that's fair. He's not like a 50+ million type signing person. So maybe. Where does it say starts on here? Do you have to do the math yourself with minutes? Or does it not say starts? How many times has he played a full 90? None? Once? The EFL Cup in the 4th round, he's made one 90-minute appearance? Is that it? Sheesh. It's pretty bad, guys. Pretty bad for Omar Marmoush just not getting minutes whatsoever. They don't fit with each other. Square peg, round hole is the takeaway I've got from what we're seeing with these signings, which is not a good indication of quality football directing, I would say. He fell out of favor after his injury, and Doku was in crazy form. But the thing is with the form thing, this is why we're in this Holland scenario. Holland was playing out of his mind, fantastic. But we played the same 11, 12, 13 guys for 10 games straight, and now everybody's like, why are we so tired? So that's what I don't understand is, yes, players were in very, very good form, but it feels like Pep should have managed the squad much better back in November, December, October time to avoid getting to this point now where it's like guys aren't playing, guys are not in form, guys are gassed. I feel like the player management part of being a manager, he did not do very well this year, unfortunately. I think we signed young players, so they related it directly with Viana because he signed young at Sporting. We forget the club was not planning to buy in January. What do the players we bought need to be maximized, and how do you make that in the squad if they don't fit with each other? I don't know. That's a good question, Spartacus. I feel like you have the answer, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Fix the midfield, it will fix the rest of the team. Pep also doesn't rotate enough. Yes, I do feel like the lack of rotation is a Pep thing. And we talked about that the other day over here in our good and bad of the season so far, our lack of rotating the squad and our over-relying on known players. Because maybe you have to sacrifice some good performances in October, November, December to have a squad of very good performing players in February, March, April. And I feel like that was short-sighted, unfortunately. No coincidence that when Foden fell off, Holland also did. True, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one for sure, guys. That's on the manager to find what the system with players he has. We cannot say he's the best manager in the world and he cannot find a system. Yeah, so the question is has he tried everything and nothing works, or can he not figure out what to try? And I don't know the answer to that. I feel like it's maybe more he can't figure out what to try than there is just no solution. But maybe there is no solution. Maybe there's just, with the profiles like we're talking about being so, positive, negative, and not working together, maybe there just is not a solution at this point. As seen at Spurs, when they took the midfield, we couldn't get it back, and they scored 2-2. I know, guys. I know, man. It's annoying. It's annoying. It's annoying for sure. I think the main thing we can focus on and be happy with is that we're about to be in the final of the Carabao Cup. Ideally, we don't blow this 2-0 lead, and we're able to move on. Wins solve a lot of problems. We win this. Who knows what happens at the weekend? I know it's a big ask to win at Anfield, but we win these 2 games, and everything is sunshine and rainbows again. Wins cure all. Wins cure all, really. In general, they do. The difference between now and October, though, through December, was we found a way, had a good mentality, even in bad situations. Now we're back to 24-25. True. Foden's performances got worse when he was shifted to the left. When Doku was injured, he plays his best when he is in the midfield. I mean, I do agree. He plays his best in the midfield, for sure. For sure. Man, we haven't even really talked about Newcastle yet. I don't know. We're at the hour mark, and I can't go much longer than the hour, so I think I'll just do another stream tomorrow to discuss the Newcastle game. But that is it for the stream this evening. I do appreciate all the people hanging out, coming in, even the rivals who want to come in and, drop their haha, I got you jokes, whatever, irrelevant. But everybody's always welcome to come chat, chop it up with me. I do appreciate the interaction with the chat. Of course, that's the best part of streaming is the chat. So I do thank you guys as always. There is a Discord as well. If you guys are interested in Discord, go ahead and you can just drop a comment on one of my videos. Ask for the Discord link. I will post it there. It's also in my channel description if you're interested in the Discord that way. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream. Like I said, like the video, subscribe, guys. We're going for 1,000 on the channel. We get closer every day. We're like 50 away. So